22nd. For those of you who have not seen what I've been working on for a while, Cloud Underground has been around since 2021, and technically we started our community in 2020, the DevSecOps Dojo. And so what we built is something called the Underground Nexus. But what do we really do? We basically help people build products. So if you have been wondering how do you build a product and how do you take that product to market, it's pretty much all we do with Cloud Underground. And we have our own technology that we ended up building ourselves. That technology is now a lot more mature than it used to be. So what you're seeing right here is actually an Underground Nexus environment. But the real point of this video is that we focus on you building your idea your way. And lately what I've learned is just that people can figure out how to build things these days. And we've got all kinds of things, like there's guides online on how to build this or how to build that. You can use AI, and just really in terms of, hey, I have an idea, can I build it? I found while running Cloud Underground that for the most part people can figure out how to build something that they've been trying to figure out for a while. Now what is a lot different is trying to actually learn how to take your idea and get a real customer with it. So that's what I will be focusing on, and that's what Cloud Underground has actually been focused on for quite some time. And so if you go and check out our website at cloudunderground.dev, you can learn more about what we actually do, and you can actually see how to get enrolled for the workshop on August 22nd if that's something that you're interested in. Who is it for? Basically, if your goal is to figure out how to get a real customer, then it could be something that's for you. And one of the focuses that I have is I've been trying to do things in a much more community format lately. So every other month there will be weekend workshops where everyone will get together online, and at some point I plan on getting together in person as well. If anyone is local to wherever I am, or if I'm traveling, I'm still open to potentially doing some in-person options. There's things like WeWork and things like that. But the whole point is to bring people together, to build together so that you can get your idea built, and then we will all go over, how do you take that idea and turn it into something that someone might actually buy, whether you're just trying to build a hobby or a side income, or, maybe you're just trying to learn, or if you really are trying to build a business or already own a business and you're stuck at that junction where, hey, I already started building things, I'm just like stuck at that process of not really sure where to go from here. So some things that are sort of tied to the workshop, I guess what I'll do is just kind of show our website. If you are not familiar with Cloud Underground, like I said, Cloud Underground has been around for a while. Cloud Underground has been around since 2021, and one of the cornerstones of everything that we've done is we have an MVP blueprint that ever since we started is our main focus point on how do we help you get started with what you're doing. If you haven't been to our website before, you can check it out. We have comics and things to kind of give you an idea of what we actually do. But if I go and click on this starter kit option, you'll see that we have a guided cohort that is beginning and some details on how you can actually participate and join that program. So we even have comics for everything these days. But anyways, the real focus is how do you actually turn your idea into a real product? Since this is something that we do routinely, one of the things that is actually completed that we haven't really shown a whole lot of lately, but it's been completed for a while now and we just haven't really been talking about it so much. I've made this new technology a while back that is based on the idea of not just using AI, but having something that you can talk to that'll help you run your company or whatever you're trying to do. So let's say that you want to install something on your computer. the original idea actually came from Star Trek, where I was just wondering, can we say, I want to install a program called HTOP. Maybe you don't really know how to install HTOP, so if you go and talk to this thing, then basically it's going to go ahead and figure out how to run whatever you're trying to do for you. And then one of the important things that I'm showing right now is a lot of these AI tools and things that use AI will just go and run code. So one of the things that you're seeing right here is that we actually have a security system built into this. And the security system prevents people from just coming in, using AI, and it's just running all of this random code in your environment. And then on top of that, this allows you to run your AI locally. And right here I'm running a dedicated server. We actually have our own operating system that we've been building operating systems since the beginning. If anyone is familiar with our history, we actually started with building little small servers and using Jetson Nanos in 2021. So we've been working with AI before all of the LLM stuff came out, and so this is something that, once again, we've been working on this for a while. It used to be called AI Augustus. So if anyone comes from our older days, you've heard of AI Augustus. But notice that it refused to run this code for me. Now, why is this important? If you're trying to just let AI just do all these different things for you, it hallucinates, it has all these challenges and issues. So what we've done is we've created a whole security system for how AI works. It's not just about security, it's about compliance, all these different things. But it has a guardrail system where you have this allow list. And I have to say thank you to all the people who participated in building this. If you're a member who's been part of the community, we wouldn't have this without you. So just for all you community members who haven't caught up with me, if this is something that you want to use and you've been a participant in building this, then you actually get to use all of this technology. But for those of you who are wondering how do you get this, we're actually going to be letting people use this new technology as part of the workshop, because it helps you actually build products as well. It's designed to help you build products. Let me show you a little more about that. Now, let's say that I want to actually start having it help me code, do something like that. It has different things, like you can have it run Hermes. If you've heard of Hermes, it allows your system to be a little more autonomous, where it'll just do things for you. And this kind of goes back to, why would you want some sort of security system that blocks catastrophic code from just running on your system with AI? Because that's sort of a scary thing. If you have a server and it's directly running things, you don't want to just destroy your system. So what we've created is our own directory system that allows people to go and you can escalate the security. So maybe I'm let's see, maybe I'm NATO at email.com. Why not? If I go and add myself as a user to be allowed to go and run unsecure code or secure code, because it's not going to run catastrophic code even if I go add myself to this allow list, I can go and tell this that I want to allow this environment to run this code. And then you can see here that it is authenticated successfully. Excellent. Now, if I want to run my code, notice that this is going to now be much different. And then on top of that, it's going to tell me if I want to allow it to run the code. Now, because it is AI, sometimes you might have to tell it a little more about what you want it to do. Right now, it looks like it's just trying to install some, or just run a command. It'll tell you if the code ran properly. But anyway, you're getting the general idea here. If I just want to even just enter in a direct command, then as long as it's something that's approved, notice it'll just let me, it has this, the whole thing I'm trying to show you is it's guardrailed here. So I can reject it if it's going to be incorrect, if it's not running the thing that I expect. It's not going to just run code. Now you can tell it that it's allowed to just run code, and then that would be a lot different. And if it successfully does that, then you can see, did htop install. So let's see, htop is a little monitor program if you've never heard of htop before, but as you can see, it's installed htop here, and you can be more conversational with it, and actually you can train it as well. So if it's not running things the way that you want it to run things, then you can tell it that you want it to run things a little differently. But the main point there is you can see here that it has now ran this code, and it was secure and guardrailed, where it doesn't just run things. Now it does a lot more than that too. Let's say that I want to do finances, and I think in one of my examples here I already have some examples of doing some financial tests on here, but let me just go to new here. Now, why am I doing a finance test? Generally speaking, you don't want to go use a cloud LLM and input your bank account information straight into an LLM. You don't want to put your social security information in there. So let's say that you are trying to do finances. So you say, I need you to make me a spreadsheet of my finances. Can you make me a sample spreadsheet of what a proper balance sheet should look like? Because we can just talk to it, it will tell you if it's able to do whatever that is, and notice it says that it's planning and writing. And also notice that it has this thing that says APU, and here we go, it says a whole bunch of things. If I scroll up and see what it said here, it has created a sample balance sheet just for me, and it's telling us where that's located in this home ABC location, basically in our artifacts folder, in this folder called data. So if we go over to tools here, it has this artifacts folder where I can go and open up the data folder, and you can see some of my old tests are in here, but the name of this one is sample balance sheet. And because I don't really want my bank account information to go and be out in the public cloud where someone can go and query my sensitive banking information. Now this is made up right here because I asked it to make a sample. But if you're not really sure how to do finance, then this is something that's really valuable. Believe it or not, it uses Python to do finance, so this uses more than just AI. It uses NLP, but one of the things that NLP stands for natural language processing. All AI technically does a degree of this, but I use NLP with AI a specific way to where it will actually run little Python scripts, and it will lean on Python to be more deterministic. So anytime it's doing finance, it actually does real math. That's something that it does. As to where if you're using just any old LLM, some of them will do something similar, or you can actually tell an LLM you want it to use Python and things like that. But notice I didn't have to think about any of that. I didn't have to tell it use Python to be more deterministic so that you don't make mistakes with these financial calculations. No, as you can see, it actually just did it. It just runs whatever I've told it to run, which is exactly what makes it a great tool for building a minimum viable product. See, if I'm trying to build a new product, I'm going to have to deal with finances. I'm going to have to figure out, what are the pricing rates that I might charge for something. So, if I'm trying to build a new product, I design this to be something that helps me build a new product. And so if I'm trying to basically just do whatever. Now, I've had the luxury of using this technology for quite some time now, which is why it works so well, because ultimately when we built Cloud Underground, we built something called Automate Boring Things, which I'll ask it, what is Automate Boring Things? And why does it matter? So in 2021, when we built the MVP blueprint, it's actually the first step of something called Automate Boring Things. Automate Boring Things is important because it's actually the framework and structure that this whole thing uses to know how to build things, how to be reliable, how to make sure that it's guiding you down a path that's not just doing random stuff. Because we don't want random. We want something that's going to be giving us some sort of quality, something valuable for our business. And it has a whole framework that it uses. You can see here that it's trained on all of these things. So anytime it's doing anything, it's using Automate Boring Things, and it has a whole story here. So if you join the workshop, you learn about Automate Boring Things, and you actually get the whole Automate Boring Things ebook and everything. So you actually learn the process that this uses for yourself. And so it's not just using a random, concept of how to do things. It's directly trained on exactly the process that we've used to build and sell products for years. It's actually trained on exactly how we monetized our business, and also how we help other people build and monetize their businesses. And if you can imagine, if we've been around since 2021, we've been doing that for quite some time now. We've helped businesses at all sizes, whether it's a small business or a large business. And this actually, believe it or not, used to be a purely manual process. Now, even though we were using Jetson Nanos to start building out a lot of the automations in 2021 and a lot of these different things, by 2023 we came up with the Underground Nexus, which is actually like the automation layer that let us make all of this. And then you can see that it says DRAG. DRAG technology is how we actually make our AI resources what you would call sovereign or easier to own. So if you have a drag pack, which this will actually generate drag packs for you, it means that you have an intelligence packet. If it's doing some stuff for you, it'll generate little intelligence files that you can go and take over to another AI. And whatever you've done in here, it will then give that skill from what you've done in here to another AI. So one of the interesting things you might barely be able to see here is it says APU. Something else that's a little different from how we use LLMs with this golden twin right here is it actually doesn't just use the LLM in a normal way. What it does is it uses what's called an artifact processing unit, and it uses an LLM as an artifact processing unit. So a file is an artifact, basically. That's how you could think of it. And so we actually use artifacts similarly to how a computer uses RAM, and we use LLMs similarly to how a CPU is used in a computer. There's a lot more to it than that. But at a high level, it allows this to be a lot more accurate and allows it to work a certain way that's ultimately going to be beneficial for building products in a reliable way where you're not going to be getting hallucinations the same way. So then we actually have a people management process as well. If I ask it, what is drop squads? Drop squads here, it's going to tell me, this is actually a people management process for how people are managed. And it's going to go in here and it's going to tell me what drop squads is. And notice that it says that it's basically like the Airbnb of cloud. So it's actually how we staff everything is with this model. But Anyway, the whole idea is it's trained in a very specific way, and one thing that I want to emphasize here is, let's say that you want to use different local LLMs. You can see that I have different local LLM models on here. Might be a little hard to see, but the point is that it has a local LLM model swapper. You can come in here and put on different local LLMs that you can run, where all of them can be used as an APU, because the Golden Twin uses LLMs as APUs. It's still a form of AI, but it makes LLMs process differently. And also, one thing I'm doing on this system is I am using a cloud API, but this is a demo system. And one thing I want to show off here is, normally if you're using Google or Anthropic, or I don't know, Google, Anthropic, OpenAI, any of those different ones, normally your data is going into the cloud. One of the reasons I'm showing you this is because it's pretty obvious that your data is a lot more private if you're using something that is purely local. But let's say that you're using a low-powered device, which this is a fairly low-powered device. Usually you're kind of barred from being able to use really private AI type solutions unless you go and kind of do some stuff yourself. There are a few solutions that let you that are an exception to that. But what this does is it makes sure that your LLM is running locally. And notice that it uses, as it describes here, like a deterministic NLP, which that processes locally. That aspect does not process in the cloud. But also notice that it lets me choose 4 different LLMs all at once. So every time I do a prompt, right now I'm just using the same model, but I could quite literally just use 4 different models and it'll make them all work together. And so at any given time, 100% of the time, this uses 4 models, whether you're using one for all 4 of these functions or not. And so it's kind of like a little, I don't know, LLM beehive, where all of the LLMs come together, your choice of LLM, and if for whatever reason your internet dies, it will automatically shift to working locally and offline. So this is one of the tools that this workshop is going to have an option for people who don't want to just use, like, I don't know, ChatGPT. And for that matter, it's also worth knowing that we've made some changes to the Bronze Twin, and in order to make it easier for folks to try out how our technology works, the Bronze Twin, let's see, is actually the GPT version of it is now basically all free. So if someone wanted to get an idea of how our stuff works, one of the reasons is because our focus now is trying to keep things within your control, private, things like that. And so you can come in here and ask it what is different about you from a normal GPT. Well, this is like a non-logged in. You do not have it. I guess I have to log into. Oh, you have to do the sign in for free. But see, the cloud, they want you to sign up for things. They want to take your data. And so we were like, even though it's useful and it's an incredibly valuable tool, if you already use ChatGPT, this is a great way to get using that. So you can actually come over here if you use ChatGPT. You can actually benefit from our now always free GPT version of the Bronze Twin. And right now you'll notice that the Bronze Twin is only something that you can get through the workshop. There's reasons for that right now, so it's sold out. So if you want to gain access to even the new Bronze Twin, or if you have the existing service, then you can do that. But basically, the new Bronze Twin, you get to go and import and customize your Bronze Twin, where it's your sovereign resource that you can use portably. We have a whole intelligence feed that's tied to that now, where the intelligence feed itself is accessible over cloud, but all of the resources are actually air gappable, and so you can actually air gap them from cloud to your local air gapped environment. You don't even have to go do a standard download, or if you are connected to the cloud, it actually has a way to go and completely integrate everything to the cloud. You can do it all. So we actually use this Bookstack integration for setting up intelligence feeds. You can set up your own local intelligence feed just manually with the Golden Twin, and this is just a way to make it automatically learn, based on where you put your intelligence feeds. So that can be, you can, if you go and look at our GitHub, you can actually go get the code from our open source to go and build an open source intelligence feed using Bookstack. Now, something else that's a little interesting is this does quite a lot, actually. It has this tool called Planka. Now, Planka is a Kanban tool, and let's say that you want to make the Golden Twin work with your team, because it's designed to be your twin, your digital twin. So you can actually work with people, but one thing I'll note is that if you're not really sure how to use it, it will actually teach you how to use it and say, I want to play Dungeons and Desktops. If you say I want to play Dungeons and Desktops, then it's going to go and basically start teaching you how to use the technology. Or you can actually ask it to turn real life into basically like an RPG. So it says, if you choose Cloud Jam mode, please let me know if you're using Cloud Jam mode and whether you are playing solo or with a party. That means that you can turn like your goals or your projects into a Dungeons and Dragons style game, and it will help you figure out how to do that and gamify the process to make it more interesting and more fun. So it's all about building your products easier, less stressful, and then notice that the default, your core campaign, by default, you can choose if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be an educator, and then it says right here, real world project. Turn your real world project into a game. And then it uses this Kanban board here that I'll show you as an actual desktop, which is pretty impressive. So you can go over and look in the settings. It has this Planka dispatcher. You do have to go and set up this Planka dispatcher. You can see that it's got this board. Right now it has board name. You can change all of this, but I'm just going to go make a board named test1 and show you what it does. First, you want to make sure that it can see everything. You can see that it doesn't have a board. So we can fix that by going over and choosing how you want to do that. If you want to make a tabletop game for your team, I'm just going to call this test1. And we can make this bigger because it's real tiny. You can go and you can create a project, and if you go and create a board, then you do need to go and say you have to set it up. You can change the names of these, but by default it just uses these setups here. And if you want it to work with things, it has an email that it's gonna, not be happy if it doesn't have a matching email. The default email in here lives in here somewhere. I already know what it is, so But anyway, you can go and set up custom email accounts. So what I'm going to do here is now see if this is going to diagnose and see it. Now you can see that it sees that there is a board. And before I do anything with this board, I'm going to go and tell it that I want to make some changes to how it works. That part doesn't matter so much. I'm just going to save this so that it knows that all of these things are here. You can see that you can change the names of the boards. You can change all of this. So just by saving that, now we've got this new little setup. We can test our connection. It will tell you if it's working. The diagnostic will tell you once again if it's working. And we can go ahead and close that. What am I doing? I'm trying to show you what happens when you use this. So I'm trying to move this over a little bit. So let's say that you want to go and make sure that this works. It actually has this dispatch test, so we can see, will my profile manager work? So let's go and see if it will work, and boom, notice that it is now using the Kanban board, and it's doing it successfully. So if I say OK, now it'll automatically go and do something with that little card that it just created. But if I just want to go and force it to go and synchronize automatically and just say I don't want to wait, you can say sync now. You can also change the rate that it syncs at. It'll tell you if it succeeded. It shows us here that it succeeded. That's great. And when we look at this, we can see you can change the, does it every 60 seconds anyway. So now that we've got this going, if I want to make sure that it's all going to talk, I do need to make sure that I have an authorized email for this, and the authorized default email is admin@sovereign.local. Just add that in there. And if we go over here, you can see that now it's working, it's doing things. You should be able to talk to it. Notice that it's already left some comments here, and it's got some stuff going on. Great. So if we go back over here, I should be able to go and refresh this little pane here, and you can have a conversation with the little card. And so, if you're working with a team and folks are using this, you can just have the golden twin help manage everything. You can also play dungeons and desktops with this. And even more interesting, the entire environment that this runs in is actually also a hypervisor. So, I've just said all kinds of things. A hypervisor, what is a hypervisor? A hypervisor runs virtual machines. So if you want to run virtual machines, now we have a Docker version of this too. This is actually the bare metal version that I'm using, but same thing. This basically lets you go and run virtual machines, and let's say that you want the golden twin to run virtual machines for you. You can do that. If you go over to the settings, it's got so much going on in this thing. It's kind of crazy. You can tell we've been, this is years worth of work, and lots of people have been involved in this, so it's it's a lot. So if you look at things like, maybe I want to just ask it, what can you do? You can even ask it to package an OVA appliance. Great. You can ask, have it tell you if it's able to even run a virtual machine on your system. So maybe that's what we do. Say I am running some stuff, choose the little example command, and it's going to go and do what it does. So there's a ton of example commands. You don't even have to know what you're doing. In this case, I might have to train it a little bit. Sometimes it'll do some things that's not intended. See, this is why we have an approve and reject thing, because AI hallucinates sometimes, and you need to go and tell it what it's supposed to do. But more importantly, for the most part, it actually does a pretty good job with things, which is why, as you could see, most other things, it just did exactly what I was trying to figure out. If you are wondering what it can do, let's see if it has a status on here. Let's run this Hypervisor status, and it looks like it's telling us it's running near native KVM acceleration. Great. And it can do all of these things. It's got all these things configured. Wonderful. So that tells us that we can do all sorts of things. So now you know that it can control a Kanban board, and you can actually play Dungeons and Desktops on here. So you can actually go and open up a card and say at Golden Twin play with me. If you say, let's see, go and edit this card and say at Golden Twin want to play. This is a way where you can start using it as your game master with more than one person. And by using at Golden Twin, it's going to see it and it's going to talk to it. And so now by doing that, you can either wait 60 seconds or change the sync time, or you can just go in here and say, I just want to sync now. And wow, that card has already moved. Now it's going to do whatever it's doing. It's going to tell you that it's processing things. You're going to go over here and you ask it to play with you, and wow, look at that. It says, I am ready to run a session of Dungeons and Desktops with you. Wow, that's fantastic. So it's giving you the options. You can see we've got the same general game options right here. But the whole point is now it's in a Kanban board where you can go and you can add members. You can say, hey, I want Jerry to join me. Or maybe you want Samantha. I don't have users in here right now, but the whole point is that you can play with a party, as it says here. You can play with a party. So it's pretty versatile. You can do a lot with it. It's pretty impressive overall. I don't know. You see it right now. This is what it does. It does these things. That's not even all of it. So because this workshop's coming up soon, I'm just gonna keep showing you what more that it can do. It can do a ton. I mean, of course, it has all these prompt examples. It's got options for, making software. It's got, it's designed to help you build your products. It's designed to let you tune things. And, I didn't want to have to memorize all this stuff myself. I just want to be able to have a computer that I can talk to and be like, hey, computer, I want thing. And it will do thing. That's fantastic. And then I don't want to have to memorize everything about my business and what I'm trying to do. One thing I haven't even shown you, there's this Git-BIOS control panel. I don't even know if I've set this up yet, but it should just work. Wow, look at that. Now, this is interesting too, because notice that it was hallucinating with certain things. I was telling you that you can train it. Well, there is a deterministic way to train it, and the deterministic way to train it is it can use the buttons just like you can. And so if I go over and look at the settings here and go to the MCP Profile Manager, it has this Git-BIOS buttons option. And if you want it to not mess up your commands, where you're like, I don't want it to do crazy things, I want it to actually just work, well, make a button. And the buttons, you can even have it help you make the buttons, where you go, have it help you make some commands, test it until it's doing what you want it to be doing. And it's called a Git-BIOS control panel. Now, we can see that we've got a launch Firefox on there, for example. You can see that we've got close Firefox on there. Launch application menu. So let's try it. Let's see. Some of these are all just templates by default, so you can come in here and notice that it has this option to edit all of these little buttons. So just because it's there doesn't mean that it works flawlessly on all of them without doing it. Some of them are meant to be modified, but a lot of them should just work. Like if I want to go and open Minio, I have to have that set up. I don't have that set up right now. But there are things that are set up on here. Like it'll talk to the golden twin, but I'm looking for... There we go. If I just want to launch the sovereign hypervisor, then it'll just open it. And there you go. I've just launched the sovereign hypervisor. If I want to open this shell, the Cerberus Manager is actually a special init tool that makes containers run in a certain way. It does what's called zombie reaping. If you don't know what zombie reaping is for like zombie processes in containers, then it probably is not something that matters to you. But anyways, this is a package manager that contains all of the general packages for running underground Nexus environments or custom environments. You actually can use it to create portable Git-BIOS control panels, for example, which this right here is an example of a portable Git-BIOS control panel that has been installed. And then there's even more options. There's options for Hermes, where you can go and make sure that Hermes is doing things a certain way that you want it to run. You can go and use the hypervisor with a number of options. You can have it help you create QCows, things like that. And just by installing the Golden Twin, it actually has all of this set up by default. It just installs this with it. And then it can help you make your own custom everything with this. So, it's also tailored for robotics. This way I've set it up is not configured in an ideal way for robotics. You actually want it to be a little less secure than it currently is for the robotic setup. Right now I have it more configured for like a hosting server for hosting applications. It's a little friendlier for people to connect to. But if you're, building robotics, then you're going to secure it a different way anyway, and so you want things to be able to all talk. And then, of course, the Golden Twin, if you're concerned about security, then you can go and update more catastrophic items that will deny it from doing things that it shouldn't be doing, because that would be bad. So with that in mind, you can see we've got the allow list here. So again, you can go use, you can make a new Git-BIOS control panels, and it, if you add new buttons, you can just tell it to rescan. And so now all of a sudden, you can go and tell it that you want it to do something. And now I've just shown you quite a lot. So, this thing, it'll run an entire environment with you and for you. If you want it to run more autonomously, then I would go and learn what Hermes is. And if you start using Hermes, you can learn how to use the Golden Twin to guardrail your Hermes, going over to the MCP manager, and then it will quite literally just do things. And whether or not that's a good idea, maybe you should make sure that you're running that on a dedicated server or in a virtual machine, because you can go and spin up a virtual machine and put all of these things inside of a virtual machine, and then Hermes would be contained. You can let it run wild inside of a virtual machine, because this thing will run virtual machines. So you can actually have more than one Golden Twin by doing things like setting up a whole bunch of virtual machines that might also have a whole bunch of Golden Twins, and they can actually all talk to the same Planka, and you can actually just have like one Planka with like, 20 Golden Twins. That sounds wild, but you can actually do that sort of a thing if you really wanted to. So there you have it. I have shown you a lot, and so we are going to stop this recording for now. And hopefully it was interesting.